Good evening, everybody. This is Conversations with Jared and Marquita. Marquita will be along in just a moment. And you guys come on in and let's have a conversation tonight. From where we're sitting, it is, of course, it's 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And it is, the sun is going down. It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it is beautiful. I love to see the sun setting, and for whatever reason, it's very colorful today. So you guys come on in. You got your phone, sweetie?
Yeah.
It's like a very it's like a rich orange red hue outside during the sunset. All right, y'all say something. Let me know that you're in, so I can speak to you. What's up? What's good? Yeah, there are a few people on. I don't see no names though. I think I did it right. Oh, there you go. What up, Joe?
Hey, Joe.
What up?
Can I get in the camera?
Oh,
The vanity. Good evening, everybody.
what's up, Joe? All right, so
Yes.
are there any interesting questions that you guys want to ask us as a couple? We I wouldn't call us a maybe, I don't know if we are called a veteran couple or not, but anyway, we've been in the game for 16 years as a couple. No, 17 years as a couple. We would have been married 17, almost 18, 17 and a half. We would have been married for 16 years we will be married 16 years this October. So any questions anybody has that they want to shoot out to us, or scenario about your friend's situation, or about somebody that you know. Tonight we're going to talk about vulnerability. And is vulnerability weakness? Or that's such a yes or no question, so I guess you probably want to have it an open-ended situation. So so I guess it should be, how is vulnerability weakness, or how is vulnerability a strength? All right, so I ask that again. You might want to change that.
No, we could just get to it. It's catchy. It's vulnerability, weakness.
Okay. All right, but so what's up, Crystal? How is vulnerability a weakness, or how is vulnerability a strength?
Right.
And then what are you comfortable with being vulnerable?
In your relationship.
Or that's just not something you really do. What up? So y'all talk to us. We'll dive in in a minute. I do want y'all to tell me though, as you're chiming in, tell me where y'all calling from. Lord have mercy.
You
What is
on
this?
on the chat line?
Is this a teleconference? Tell me where y'all are watching from.
Lord, look at it. You heard what you said? You said a teleconference. But I'm talking about the chat line.
You see the difference?
Yes.
So we're Jacksonville, Florida, by way of Jacksonville.
By way of Fort Lauderdale.
Where are you guys watching? Where are you guys watching in from? How did Fort Lauderdale become two L's?
Lauderdale.
Yeah, I don't know how to spell.
We do. I just did both of them because I don't know which way when they looking at
Fort and Lauderdale.
Either way you look.
ATL shouted. What up, twin? That's what they say in ATL. Twin. Twin, what up, twin? That's what they say in ATL. All right, dope. Okay. What up, Chantel?
Ain't time, stay down. Okay.
All right, twin.
That's
what they say in the A. All right, so I'm just gonna jump in.
Okay.
So as a matter of fact, speaking of ATL, I've told you all before that I had to.
We started out love.
Yeah. CP, who's that? Buford.
CP Buford.
CP
Hello,
Buford, what's up?
CP Buford.
So I had to take anger management courses
Before me.
before Marquita in another relationship. Because of me. I started to say because of another relationship, but it was
Oh,
because
hey,
of me. Duval. So anyway, and I was actually in ATL when I moved to Atlanta. I had to go to anger management courses there. I think I had like 2 more weeks left. I had to finish out. And while I was there, one of the courses that we took, the guy spoke on vulnerability, and he described it like this. And I thought it was quite interesting, and I want to hear you guys' take on his definition or his way of describing vulnerability. So he says being vulnerable is like being robbed. And they come in and they take things, they trash things, and they leave, and you realize that you were robbed or burglarized. What's the difference between robbed and burglarized? Robbed is like gunpoint, right? Burglarized, they sneak in.
Yeah.
Right. So either way, let's just say burglarized. I like that better. And he might have said burglarized. Anyway, they come in and they take things, they steal things. And if you know anything about being burglarized, if they were successful in the burglary, then they likely scoped out some things that they would want to come back to get. Now you're left feeling violated. You're left feeling emotional. You're left feeling victimized and abused and weak and just almost helpless.
Yeah.
And you also understand, as the police tells you, look, it is likely that when a burglar was successful, that they'll go back to the same spot.
Yeah.
And then they'll go back and try to get more stuff.
Right.
And you having that information that they may return. Here's being vulnerable. They actually may return. Vulnerability says, I'm not going to lock the door.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
That I'm going to keep the door unlocked, even though I know they may return. That is being vulnerable. This is what the guy
Hey, Jessica.
shared. So, I mean, pause there. I want to hear your thoughts. So, what's your thoughts about that?
That's hard. I think that is a form of hard truth, that the explanation of vulnerability is just, I mean, honestly, just in life, it's some folks you're willing to be that vulnerable with, and then some you're just not. Because it's just, especially in relationships, it's hard to pick and choose. It's, for a lot of people, it's hard to decide to be that open and that vulnerable, right? Because that is scary.
Shanita says, "Oh my God." So all right. So let's take that scenario and let's apply it to relationships.
Okay.
Relationships, that dictates, and this again is what I learned in this course, that dictates that you've been hurt by a person that you're committed to, by a person that you are giving your trust to, and whatever, and they come and they hurt you, whatever the hurt may be, but they truly violate you. And hurt you, and it could be just a violation of your trust. They didn't talk to you the right way. It doesn't have to be the most extreme things, and it doesn't have to be so light. Just whatever on the spectrum you determine was a hurt, and they violate you. And this person knows how to push your buttons, just like the burglar. They were successful, and they know how to get back into the house to take from you again. And so in a relationship, vulnerability says that you know how to push my buttons and violate me and hurt me, and I don't lock the door. I don't lock the door. Versus I shut down, I lock the door and I keep you out because you've hurt me, and I'm not going to let you hurt me again. And I don't really share a whole lot. That's the whole piece of being shut down. That's lack of vulnerability. Vulnerability says, you know all my scars, you know all my openings, you know all of my points of violation, and I don't keep them from you. I trust and I allow the possible entrance of you into that same space.
All right.
That's what I personally believe is a great I believe that's a great definition of vulnerability. Y'all talk to me. What y'all think? What up, Cedric?
Hey, Cedric.
What the hell? So that's what I think is
Vulnerability.
true vulnerability. What I want to know is, do you think that that's stupidity? Like, do you think that that's just not wise? That may sound cute and all that, but is that actually wise? Or is that stupidity? Or is that a sign of weakness? Is that a sign that you are just not a strong person and you're insecure to continue to let somebody do whatever to you? What is that? What do you think about that?
Well, it depends on the person, their intelligence in regards to maturity and integrity and all of that. It's hard because you have to intentionally work at. Some people have to intentionally work at letting down their guards, being that open, being vulnerable to pretty much withstand anything. Everybody is not mentally strong enough to withstand repetitive behaviors or just anything, any dark that comes your way.
I'm joking.
I'm gonna say, do you understand?
No, I do. So, but that is to say that being vulnerable means that you're gonna have to deal with repetitive pain or repetitive violation. Being vulnerable does not dictate that you're going to be perpetually hurt.
No, it doesn't.
I think that's what some people.
The fear.
I think yes, the fear. I think that's what some people think, that I ain't gonna be vulnerable because I'm not gonna be perpetually hurt. And then they also
going in with those lenses.
Right, and they also deem being vulnerable as a weakness. All right, so let me read what some things people are saying. Cedric says, "Can y'all both move to the left, please? I'm trying to see if my stuff is
behind y'all.
What stuff?"
Yeah.
All right, Joe says, "That's what love does to you. It has you naked."
Woo!
I like that. Joe!
Come on.
You know Joe was supposed to be a preacher. For real. But yeah, Joe says that love has you naked.
Who told you were naked? Hey!
The cost of love is being willing to be naked with the person that you're with. And just, I mean, even when you just say naked, it's just like, boom, everything is here. All of my scars. I don't believe in flaws.
Yo, Deke.
What up, Deke? Deacon AJ. Oh, hey, Danny.
Hey,
glad
guys.
you made it. Anyway, we may talk about that. We may not. But naked says everything is here. I don't believe in flaws, but scars, my insecurities, my avoidances, and my shame and my weaknesses.
Yeah.
Those things that when I choose to do them are a violation to myself and a violation to my relationship and a violation to you. All of that is just, when I'm naked with the person that I'm with, all of that hangs out and hangs before us. And with the risk of being judged, with the risk of being shamed, being shamed, with the risk of being belittled, and with the risk of a person knowing your stuff and using it against you.
That's a risk.
Being naked says it's still all there.
Yeah. What up, Erica?
And just because, what up, Erica? Just because you violate this nakedness in any way doesn't mean, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting. At least put my underwear on. You know what I mean? I need to put my underwear on. You know what I mean? Well, I got to keep this shirt on, and I'm halfway dressed and halfway naked. If you're gonna be naked, you're naked.
Now, see, some people will feel like, well, then that's insanity. If I'm keep doing the same thing, keep leaving myself open, knowing you are going to be the person to hurt me, knowing you're going to do this, then you have to, look at the fact that, am I supposed to be connected to you? Because this is what you're going to perpetually do. You're going to be you, and you like to hurt me.
So what are you saying?
That's hard.
That's hard. That is hard.
That's what you just don't. It's why you just don't lie down with everybody.
Is it Shanita?
Yes.
Shanita says to be that open shows some strength.
Yeah.
She says I'm weak.
Oh.
and I get that. You know what I mean? That's honesty. You know, because everybody is not willing or able to do that. Hey, Kavina.
Hi.
All right, so Joe says, you get hurt, you want to defend and protect yourself, but the love makes you want to try again. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true, Joe.
Mr. Willis, Cedric says Mr. Willis is either single or married more than 30 years. He's neither. Joe is not married more than 30 years and he's not single. I think Joe probably around us, around 17, 18. Mm-hmm. Between 15. Joe and Chantel, how long y'all been married?
Mm-hmm. Well, and been together.
Ken said, who naked? Did I miss something?
Oh my God, Ken.
So Cedric says that, and he is an anniversary follower. Mm-hmm. It says you're an anniversary follower. Hey, anniversary follower. So Cedric says this ish is toxic.
Ooh.
What makes it toxic? Cindy, what up?
Cindy.
What makes it toxic? So let's tell our story. What you want to tell yours? To tell a story about us being vulnerable?
You tell yours. And I tell mine.
Well, I was gonna go first.
I don't know.
All right, so what up, Marcella? Still a long time. He sounds like he got it together. Getting it together. So getting it together, Cedric, is about a willingness to grow.
Oh, they just had an anniversary. That's right. You guys did just celebrate an anniversary. July 16th, 14th, they celebrated.
Oh, so what?
Years.
5 days ago.
Woo!
5 days ago.
Give them
hey,
some
can we
hearts,
please
y'all.
congratulate Chantel and Joe Willis on their 16th year.
Yeah, that's right.
16-year wedding anniversary 5 days ago.
Yay!
Congrats.
Happy anniversary, you guys.
So they are what? August, September, October. So they are 3 months, really 2.5 months before us.
Before us, yeah.
Just 2.5 months before us. Mm-hmm. Jocelyn.
Hey, Joshua and Kevin.
Yeah, what up, Kevin?
Mm-hmm. I don't do the perpetual damage stuff. He talking about. She said story time.
Who said that?
Crystal.
Jessica, what up, Jessica? Jessica, you ain't spoke back to us. I bet you better say something. I'm gonna turn these lights off in the back.
Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna get into some. That's better.
Yeah. All right. So
We'll get into some story time.
So let me see. Being vulnerable is usually not. What's up?
Just to say hey.
Being vulnerable is not easy. Being vulnerable is not something you turn on. Being vulnerable is something that you grow into.
Right.
All right.
Right.
What does Cedric say?
We're not about to have a slick counseling session on me on this here live. Look for my stuff while you back there.
So yeah, being vulnerable is not something you turn on and turn off. Being vulnerable is something that you grow into. Because vulnerable, some people say, well, and I was hurt, and I started to be vulnerable, and I was hurt, and so I closed back up. That means you were never vulnerable. Because vulnerability says you have the wherewithal to be hurt and not close up. You can't say I'm vulnerable, and then when you're hurt, you close up. Because that's when the test comes. When you are hurt and you don't close
Close
up,
or shut down.
is when you're actually being vulnerable. So for a lot of men and women, I'll talk from my perspective.
And we'll put this caveat: we don't have it all together, and we're not trying to portray or perpetrate like we do have it all together. We're just truth tellers, I guess, and we're just, giving it to you. How am I supposed to say? Blood raw.
Blood raw. So and y'all tell us y'all story too. Y'all talk to us. So I as a man, for one, we are taught either indirectly or directly. It could be from society, our environment, music, or our homeboys, or our family, or the men in our life. We are taught that your manhood is in getting the women, not the woman, the women. How many can you get? You know what I mean?
Not being soft.
And what's up, Tiffany?
Hey.
And it's also being willing to, you know what I mean, not be soft. You're gonna take up for yours, and it's also manhood was in what you wore, how much money you could make, and what you wore, how much money you could make, and or how much money you looked like you had, and having as many female stories as possible. I got this one, this one did that for me, this one did that for me, and so forth and so on. That was manhood. And to be emotional or to cry or to have any type of show of what people call weakness, whether it was, like I say, emotional or running after a woman, or being too nice, too Mr. Good Guy for a woman. Pastor Shepherd, what's going on? All that was weak. All that was weak. And you are not supposed to be like that as a man. So most men almost come into the relationship anti-vulnerable. Forget it. Anti-vulnerable.
Because anything other than
toughness,
does not depict masculinity.
Right. So it's like you don't care about nothing. I don't care about nothing. I don't care about. And dying on the inside.
Which is why it is said a lot of men cannot take the same treatment that they give a woman. Like if a man cheats on a woman multiple times, if a woman cheats on a man once, that's it for him because he can't handle it.
But
emotionally.
But we're not. We're taught not to be vulnerable, and then we're taught the way to get over one girl is to get another girl. And if a man, a lot of times, if a man has been hurt, then that's when he gets hoish, because he's not going to give his heart again, because he can't let nobody get that close to it again. You're not gonna hurt me. I did everything I'm supposed to do for you. Whatever, I gave you my heart, whatever that meant. And if he gets hurt, heartbroken, then he becomes a closed-hearted whore. And that may not mean he's sleeping with everybody. He's putting his junk in everybody. But that just may mean that he's just not going to commit to anybody. And he's got,
that do mean that.
What?
Hoes don't commit. Hoes have sex with everybody.
No, what I'm saying, when I say whore, I didn't intend it to mean just sex.
Okay.
I mean, he's just not committing. I mean, he may talk to her, and he may have sex with this one or that one, but he's not just slinging it across the community. Huh?
He probably is.
He probably is what?
Slinging it across the community.
Point is that's kind of what men have been taught, whether society, songs, whatever. And so I was the same way. I come in a relationship, and for one, I'm the boss.
Hey, Glenn.
What up, Glenn? I'm the boss. And we gonna rock my way, because this is my world, and I'm gonna treat you like a queen, but I'm the boss.
Side note, Ken, that is not where we want you to go. You are not a cold-hearted whore. So stop it.
Wait a minute, you bring
Ken
us,
says,
don't do side. No,
be
bring us
quiet.
all in.
Ken says,
Come back up.
Joseph says a lot of heart. He was responding to Cedric. Joseph said a lot of hard work, a lot of ups and downs, hurts and repairs, but love kept it all together. If it had not been for the Lord on our side, preach! We never totally gave up on each other. Never stopped loving each other. It was all worth it. Cedric says, see, I knew I should have been a thought before I got married.
What?
Yeah.
He demand, come on, Ken, let's go.
Because Ken says, well, I guess that's where I'm headed then. LOL, a cold-hearted whore.
So, I bet. So, let's go with that.
1 second. Chantel says, my husband and I were opposite.
Wait. Go ahead.
My husband and I were opposite. I was the anti-vulnerable one. And he kept trying to get me to become naked. He would talk my head off in the early years. Took hundreds of conversations. But again, he does have the preacher blood in him. Oh my God.
That preacher blood wore you down, huh? So let me tell you, so here's what that sounds like, Ken. He says, well, I guess.
That's where he headed.
I'm headed to being a cold-hearted hoe, which means that there's a straight rip in the heart there.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
There is a lightning bolt in the heart. And lightning bolt in the heart. Mm-hmm. And if Cedric trying to hitch a ride with you, that also means there's a lightning bolt in the heart too. Because that's how men express that.
Right.
Men don't say, yeah, I'm hurt. Yeah, hey man, where's she at?
You have to kind of
bring her friend too.
And you have to kind of read between
It depends if her mama fine too.
Now that's just nasty. You're going a little too far. That's that bug.
But that's the vulnerability or the anti-vulnerability of a man, because we were not taught emotional intelligence. Yeah. We were not, and it's true, we were not taught emotional intelligence. The female, as she was...
A lot of men.
A lot of men. The female, as she was being raised, was hugged when she cried. And it's okay, baby. It's okay, sweetheart. Everything's going to be okay. Or what's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. Come and just come sit down next to mama, whatever. Or dad. Come sit down and see daddy and let's talk about it. And she talks it out and they rationalize and they come to some logic. And well, usually they don't, because the emotions usually carry them. So it's just, let's sit in our emotions. In essence, girl, let's just talk about it. A man, if he's coming with the crying and he's sad, and, hey boy, chin up, man. Don't be doing all that crying,
Hitting them babies.
You know what I mean? So that's how he is raised. Hey man, keep moving. Man up. Man up. And so he doesn't have the emotional intelligence because he was told to man up. He was told to you got to just do what you got to do. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Ain't no need to be crying or so. And he was right. There's no need to cry, but you never really even did. You never really even allowed the talking it out. Like, what the hell am I feeling? What is going on with me, and what do I do with it? Or let's not try to talk about the fix. Just talk about what I'm feeling, and it not be me being soft or being a punk. Go ahead.
Or frowned upon. I was saying that a lot of there are some guys nowadays and back in the day, very few, that actually sat and did talk with their sons, did try to have open conversations with their sons, allowed their sons to express and not just bottle up anger or anything like that, and not have the son feel like, you know, you're being soft, or then it get coined as, or you're just in touch with your feminine side. It's like, it's not feminine or masculine. It's just, this is another emotion that I'm feeling, and I need to be able to express that, versus hold it in, bottle it in, and then it gets channeled in other areas. And then now the child honestly gets ruined because I don't know how to express my emotions when it comes to sadness or embarrassment or shame. All of that equals anger and tear some stuff up.
Yeah. And then see, then when that same girl and same boy gets older and they're grown, when that girl gets hurt, she gonna get with her girls, and even if they go get drunk or whatever, they go drink or they go to the house and they get drunk or they drink, they're gonna get drunk and drink and still talk about it. They're gonna talk it out, or whatever. They're gonna talk it out. For that same boy that we talked about as a child, didn't really get that emotional intelligence. When he gets up to that age and he gets hurt, he may get with his boys too. He's not going to talk about it. It's just, hey man, let's just
go to the strip club.
Yeah, and or whatever you do, you know what I mean? Or either let's just go to strip club, or let's go. I mean, I'm going out partying, or because maybe you're not a party, I'm not a strip club party person, or maybe you just ignore it. And you may even get with other people and your boys. You just don't ever talk about it. You know, and then they may ask you, hey man, you all right? Yeah, man. Hey man, you know, you may say something like, hey man, she tripping or whatever, but that's short lived. Like, hey man, I'm good. You know what I mean? You know, and
it never gets addressed.
Right. And it doesn't happen all the time, but it doesn't. I'm not saying this all, but that's too many scenarios are like that.
Yep, I would definitely agree.
Yeah.
Definitely agree. And then that breeds the miscommunication in the relationship. If he does get into a relationship with someone that actually wants to talk and wants to figure out what's going on, or just period. If you get in a relationship, period, that's gonna cause communication barriers. Because now you don't want to talk. Like the show that we were watching, it's just everything. When I get upset and I actually have to sit and have a conversation,
it's everything.
It's just
F
everything.
And so what happens? I mean, it makes sense. Well, let me look at what Glenn said. He says that's true. If you are an '80s baby, our music was too live, crude, and too short. And that was the mentality of the man. So that same female as a girl, she was her vulnerability was welcomed. As a grown woman. It may have been, you know, not the greatest outlet, but it was still, let's talk it out. Let's hear your emotions.
Girl, don't blame Mr. Charlie.
I don't know nothing about that.
Mr. Charlie is not a man. He's just a man. And he's doing the best he can. Go back to him, girl. That's what they do.
Okay. And then as that same boy, you know, man up, once he got till an adult age, he gets hurt. Man up, forget about it. Let's move on. No talking it out. And then that same female from childhood, now adult, and that same boy from childhood, now a man, get together. And they have issues. She knows how to emotionally talk it out. He does not.
Sometimes.
Well, at least she wants to. Whether it's mature or not, she
knows how to get it out.
Yeah. He does not. And they get into issues, and she wants to talk. He does not. Or he does, but he doesn't know how to. What up, Warren?
Hey, Warren.
And Diana?
Yeah.
So he doesn't know how to because, and maybe he wants to, but he don't know how to. And so his talking it out, but they having something, you know, they having a little issue. She wants to talk. His talking it out is move on, man.
Right.
Let's, you know, let's move on. And maybe, hey, let's just forget about that. And then we want to have sex. Or forget about that. Let's just go out. Let's go out to eat. You know what I mean? And she did it once. And then twice. She went out to eat. Okay, let's go out to eat. And she went with it. And he think everything good.
I'm full, but I still want to talk.
Yeah. He think everything good. And what up, Diana? And then what happens is she has push it down, push it down, push it down, and it's never gone.
Up. Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden she gets to this wit's end, and I'm out.
Mm-hmm. You don't never want to do this. You don't never want to do this. You always.
Yeah. And yet, anybody force you to have sex every time we
or eat
fuss, and nobody put that food down your throat, but you kept doing it. You know what I mean? So he confused.
Because he thought everything was good. Because it's his norm to just, brush it under the rug or skate past it.
And often it's the woman's norm to just become agreeable and adjustable to what's happening, because in her mind, she'll eventually get to where she wants.
Right. Or get him.
Get his attention, right? So she can get where she wants. And so these two are going blah 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 because they he doesn't have la la blah sorry. Shut up. Because he doesn't have the emotional intelligence and or the emotional blueprint.
That's good.
And she does. It may not be intelligent. That's why I said that. That's why I switched it. Because her emotionalness may not be intelligent.
Right. But she may not know how to convey actually what she's feeling, but she know I'm feeling something, so
and she knows to talk about it. And she knows to, because she's been raised like that. And so, anyway, both of them have to become vulnerable. So here's the question. If I want to know how long you've been dating or married, and are you willing to be vulnerable? And I'll give you, some of y'all just came in. I want to give you the definition of vulnerability again.
Marquita.
Yeah. Here's the definition of vulnerability again. So Ken, this is for you too. I need you to understand this. Vulnerability is a person knowing how, a person who has hurt you, that you're committed to, that you are connected to in a relationship. And they've hurt you, they've violated you, they've abused you in some way, extreme or not. And they know how to. They know how to push your buttons. And it may be even some form of their trait of who they are, which they may do this. Vulnerability says, they have done it, and I don't build any walls. I stay naked with the allowance or the possibility that they may do it again.
I won't say allowance. I would say the risk.
The risk.
Or the possibility.
But the nakedness says you have access to do it again. That's probably the better word.
Yeah, the nakedness.
Yeah. I'm being naked, which means you have access to do it again. Just like a burglar comes in, he burglarizes, and you know he may come back because he was successful, and you don't lock the door. Are you willing to be vulnerable? And if so, why? How? And if not, why not? Cedric says, hell no. Why not? Cedric Jones II. All right, y'all talk to him.
Man, I mean, number one, it's hard. Honestly, it's hard. It's gonna be as hard as we make it if we choose to not, allow, or if we choose to fight against being vulnerable. It's gonna be harder.
So what's toxic? You can't keep using 3 and 4 word sentences. You gotta talk.
That's what we're talking about today. Open it up.
What is toxic? Is being vulnerable toxic?
Right. Or allowing somebody being open to.
Because if you are saying,
letting down your guard for someone else to just use you or someone to hurt you, is that toxic?
And I'll say this: if you are saying that being vulnerable is toxic, I would counter that with sharing that being truly vulnerable was our way to growth. When I stopped being stubborn, and Marquita stopped being stubborn and rebellious, and us protecting ourselves, and we decided to grow, that meant you're going to see those things, those areas of those growth point areas in me, and I'm going to admit them. That's vulnerability, and I'm going to grow. I'm not going to change, but I'm going to grow.
Now, what was the story time? What was our story time? Was it a story time earlier?
You can do a story time. The story, I didn't say story time. They said story time. I said tell our story. Basically,
okay.
that we came in, with not being. I said it was, I was aggressive and not vulnerable.
Well, I know
You can tell a
was
story.
I'm thinking about me in a specific time. Well, I won't say a specific time, but I know that I used to easily cry. And I was like that from childhood. Someone raised their voice, look at me the wrong way, or somebody that I respected or loved, like parents or godparents or whatever. If somebody looked at me the wrong way or raised their voice, anything, I was super sensitive, and I would cry. I got with him, and then I learned he was just like this mean person in high school. Oh my God!
What did they do with you? You ain't never in high school?
I heard a lot of stories about him, and I was just like, not him. Mm-mm. But then I got married to him.
What does it got to do with the story?
Peace. Be still. Then I heard we got married, and then I started to see some stuff, and I was like, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Then I started to notice that, okay, this Joker is being a little harsh. It wasn't, he was intentionally being harsh. It's just, he was blunt, he was direct, and I wasn't used to that. Yeah. But then again, he was blunt and direct, and he didn't have no tact. So I guess he was being harsh. And certain words and certain stuff certain stuff he would say to me would just, tear me up on the inside. And I would just, start crying and carrying on. Then just one day I was like, man, stop this. I'm not going to be doing this. He's not going to see me cry anymore. He can say whatever's going to go in and out. And I made a vow to myself, this one right here, he will not see me cry. And I would go in the shower. If he said anything or did anything to piss me off or make me upset, I would go in the shower and I'll let it out and come out, because I'm a thug missus. And I would not allow him to see me cry, because I felt like that was giving him ammunition. Him seeing me cower or seeing me, cry or seeing me hurt chest.
It's okay.
Or upset would give him ammunition, and I was just like, I'm not gonna be the one to supply him with no ammunition. What I'm gonna do is get stronger, so when he starts firing back off at me, I'm gonna fire back off at him. And
Wait a minute. So this brush is quite skewed.
the who?
I'm firing off at you and all that.
This is just how I felt, child. Be quiet. This is my story. So, and they laughing. So once I
the lies.
Oh please.
Because if I'm that bad, you wouldn't.
You know you got a mouth on you. Don't even try it.
And you don't? The people have seen it.
That's okay. Mine ain't bad, half as bad as yours. Anyway, let me finish
Go back
my story.
and listen to and watch.
Let me finish my story. So then, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. It must have been a touch from the Lord, because I felt that I shouldn't be, because I started getting harder and meaner and pulling away from him. And I was being closed and shut down because I wasn't allowing myself to be open and vulnerable, and to let him see, okay, I'm a different character, or I'm a different person. You can't talk to me this way. If you call me your fragile rose, then realize that you can't just say all kind of stuff to me and my little petals get bruised, because I'm going to die then. That ain't going to happen. And this flower is not fit to get bruised.
I thought you was thug missus.
I am a thug missus. I still got thorns.
Right.
I'm a fragile rose with thorns.
Where's the fragile petals? Thorns and thugs?
That's right. Thorns, thugs, and thistles. Yes, the fragile rose grows in all of that. Because we're beautiful, but if you touch us, you're going to bleed. So.
She be trying to put on for y'all. Oh, my God. Go ahead. Keep going.
So, anyway, I was hard. I was closed. I was mean. And I was mean. Wasn't I mean? I started being mean and just angry. And I tried to blame him, but honestly, it was me. I needed to grow, and I needed to understand, in order for us to grow, I had to be my true, authentic self and allow him to know, okay, this is what's happening on the inside of me. This is the vow that I made to myself silently, And I guess I felt like it was going to protect me and help me. I felt like I needed to protect myself because I felt like I'm against him. But we're together. This is my man. We're one. So I had to open up. And honestly, it took a lot of prayer and a lot of practice. And then I had to be vulnerable and be naked and let him know this is what's been going on with me.
And the only way this worked
X amount
because
of
he was
time.
willing to be naked.
Men always turn stuff sexual, don't they? Just sexual beings. I'm trying to hope that people.
All right, go ahead, finish.
I'm done.
Yeah. So Ken says, I don't think our fathers even knew how, or even knew what it was to be vulnerable. So it wasn't taught to the men of our generation. Warren says, me and Diana Sapp have been together for 5 years, married 3 years, and we are completely vulnerable together. At first, I couldn't be fully vulnerable because I was raised and taught that having certain emotions meant I'm being too soft, but ultimately not being vulnerable and made me hard and cold towards my wife and placed a strain on our relationship. We both had to be completely open. All right, that's good. Cedric says, I don't think being vulnerable is toxic. Having Nickelodeons taking advantage of the vulnerability is toxic. You gotta explain that. What is taking advantage of the vulnerability? And that could be true.
Yeah, some people use that. They can use that against you. Know who you're laying with, child.
Yeah. Okay. But it's not just one person being vulnerable. It really it helps a lot better when both are being vulnerable.
Yes.
Because if one is being vulnerable and the other is not, then it's automatic that the one that is not being vulnerable will take advantage of the vulnerability because they see it as weakness.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. All right. He says, no tact at all. That Joker is a Kimberell on crack.
Ooh!
Not at all. I don't know where you get that from.
He is not that bad. Lord Jesus, I could not have been standing behind her.
You see,
we're going to move past
he think that's how we flirt.
Who said that?
How we flirt.
Huh? Who said
Snapping at one another or something?
Who said that?
Cedric. Joe says, naked is Bible. Naked is Bible.
Who told you you was naked? No.
Naked is Bible.
Yeah, naked is Bible. That is not how we flirt.
Naked is Bible.
But, yeah.
So if she not walking around like the Bible
Stop.
say, ain't the right one. If she walk around like the Bible say, she need to.
Why it gotta be she? Y'all men can walk around naked too.
I don't have a problem with that. I obey the law of the Lord. I obey God. God did. I obey God.
He didn't say nothing about that. Don't be twisting the Lord's words.
What up, Gloria Gardner?
Hi. Y'all was a mess.
Yeah. So I mean, all right. So do we think vulnerability is weakness? I don't think vulnerability is weakness, but it does feel weak.
Because that's what happened with me. I'm better be doing this.
Yeah. Vulnerability feels weak. Vulnerability feels soft. Vulnerability feels like it's not the right tool to fight. And that's usually because most of us are fighting and not trying to grow.
Correct.
And when you're fighting and not growing, for one, you're
stagnant.
You're stagnant. You're tearing up stuff, and you're not being vulnerable.
Right.
It's vulnerability that leads to growth, not fighting. Fighting leads to destruction. Fighting leads to walls being built up, anger, resentment, bitterness. Stress, distrust, quietness, stagnation. A sexless life, a loveless life, a joyless life, a peaceless life. When you're fighting, and because you're not fighting for the relationship, I'm trying to fight for a relationship. No, you're fighting for you.
Yeah.
You're fighting not to be embarrassed. You're fighting not to be hurt. You're fighting to keep people away from your insecurities. You're fighting for you. And when you're fighting, you're not being vulnerable. Yeah. So vulnerability is not. Y'all have to excuse the camera keep moving because our dog is keeps getting on the camera.
Real comfortable on the legs of the camera.
And keep pushing it. and I don't want y'all to see me get with her. So
that's right, Joe. Weakness is not being able to be vulnerable.
yes, yes, weakness is not being, and you don't know that. Now listen, that seems foreign to you because you don't know that until you have been brave enough as a woman to be vulnerable, or you've been brave enough as a man to be naked and vulnerable to the person that you're committed to. You don't know that weakness is not being vulnerable. You know what I mean? Because other than that, you think the total opposite.
Yeah, that's
All right. Sandra says taking naps in the hospital parking lot to avoid being home.
Naps.
Oh, naps. Taking naps in the.
No.
That's fighting.
That's fighting. Yep.
That's not growing. All right. Mr. Shepard says vulnerability is one's choice and decision. What is most important, your relationship or your vulnerability?
Right. Which one is most important, your relationship or your vulnerability? Let me see. Read that again.
Yeah. I don't, because they're
hand in hand.
Yeah, if you choose your relationship over vulnerability, then you're not choosing your relationship.
Yeah.
If you choose vulnerability over your relationship, then you're not choosing vulnerability because they're one and the same. Now,
if you're in a relationship.
If you're in a relationship. But if you choose vulnerability, you're choosing your relationship. You're choosing your growth. If you do not choose your your vulnerability, you're choosing yourself. So the comparison would be vulnerability or self.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say because it sounds selfish.
Yeah, or vulnerability / relationship or self and pride and ego. Because that's on the other side. You got vulnerability over here, you got your relationship, you got your commitment, you actually got love, and you got peace. You got a great road of growth, personal and relational. Or selfishness, I want to save face, my pride, my ego. Ain't nobody gonna do me like that or talk to me like that. I ain't taking this, and I don't have time for this. Right. Which means that you have decided, to a person that you're committed to, that and maybe right or wrong, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you've decided that I am not willing to grow with you or with you. Not for you, because growth is not for a person.
Right.
But I'm not willing to grow. I'm not willing to grow with you. So you may say,
and
well,
it could be because y'all chemistry is just off. This is not working. So I'm gonna choose me.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna be out.
Yeah, you're not really choosing you, because if you choose not to be vulnerable, you're saying I am not willing to grow with you. So even if we separate, I still haven't grown. I'm not with you no more. Because not being with you is not growth. Because growth is not about you anyway. Growth is for me and for me. Although it may be beneficial to anything around me. But choosing to fight instead of grow, and I won't grow with you, is when I decide to separate from you, because that's fine if you do that. I still haven't grown yet.
Yeah. Until you get with somebody else and decide to grow with them. All right, I'm with you.
All right. Okay, what else? What we got? That's it. The words to the nation in this end time. All right. How you doing, Joe? Yes. All right. So that's my. I think vulnerability is. So here's another question. What's our time looking like? Oh man. All right. So here's another question, really quickly, and y'all tell me what y'all think. This is for the men, because we got a lot of men on here actually tonight. What does masculine vulnerability look like?
That's a question.
What does masculine vulnerability look like? That's what I want to know. That's for them. That's help us men folk. I'll ask it again. Y'all heard me say it already. I just want y'all to say something. I'm trying to give y'all time to say something. What does masculine vulnerability look like? Unpack that. What does vulnerability from a man look like? Because we know, or not know,
how is that
but
depicted?
stereotypical vulnerability from a woman is she bears all. You know, she's emotional and she says, "I'm hurt. You hurt me," or I'm embarrassed.
And sometimes she even goes by the adage, "Getting over a man is getting under a new one."
That's not vulnerability. Come back with me, Marquita.
I said sometimes they go by the adage. They go by that.
What?
Because they're vulnerable, they're hurt, they're open, they weak, and so they feel
That's
like
not being vulnerable. That's fighting.
that is fighting. But I'm saying that's
not what I'm talking about.
Okay. Sorry, I went left.
I'm talking about a female being vulnerable. Looks soft. Not soft, but looks open. You know, looks verbal. Looks expressively emotional. It looks, you know, I mean, what else does
A female being vulnerable? Yes, they may cry. They are open to. They want to talk.
they bear all?
They
bear it all.
want to. Yeah, they feel naked. Honestly, yeah, they feel naked. They're gonna say everything. They're gonna tell you exactly how they feel. They want and they plead for you to understand how they're feeling or what they're feeling.
And they're not, and I'm glad you said that, because they're not pleading for you necessarily. They're pleading to be heard.
They want to be heard. They want you to understand
my feelings.
what I'm saying to you, so you can understand how I'm feeling.
All right. What did Joe say?
Read Cedric's answer to your question.
Cedric says, if I understand the question, service or servitude and self-sacrifice.
That's masculine vulnerability.
All right, good. Joe says, being vulnerable is all about letting the other person know the real you. Once that is out there, it gives the other person a chance to still choose you just the way you are, or not choose you. This helps to have those serious conversations about real growth. I don't like the word change. Once y'all reach real understanding, it helps to become as one. All right, I agree with that. Who this man, Pastor? Get him a collar and a cassock. Yeah, I agree with that. And so really the answer to what does masculine vulnerability look like versus feminine vulnerability look like, there is no gender vulnerability. Vulnerability looks the same.
I was going to say that. It's not, because when you start trying to, separate the two, then it just leads to other unnecessary, negative, false realities.
Which is not really
right.
Vulnerability.
Correct.
It's trying to be masculine again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now you putting a stigma on this is how a man should be vulnerable. This is how a female should be vulnerable. And that's not,
right.
That's defeating the purpose.
Yeah. Good night. This is a good subject. We are at our time.
You just gonna end on the people.
But this is a great subject. And I really think more people need to hear about this or hear this or talk about this or learn about this, whatever, because you're tearing your relationships up because you're fighting and you're not growing. And we know how to fight. Fight doesn't lead to growing. Fighting leads to someone being bruised and someone being scarred and wounded.
Figuratively and literally.
Yeah. Growing leads to
healthy relationships, healthy individuals, figuratively and literally.
Yep. So, So I'm glad y'all stuck with us to have this conversation. Share this. Again, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, run over there now. Hit the subscribe button. It's How to Make Love Work. Same as it is here on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel there on YouTube. We appreciate it. Share this. Let somebody else get into the conversation. Yeah. Richard says, what's that? Jamae? Am I saying that right?
It might be Janae. Janae Hopper Richard.
Janae.
Transparency is powerful.
Transparency is powerful. Sarah says, I like this one. Good topic. Yeah, I like that. Is it Janae? Transparency is powerful. Now, of course, then we gotta go. But transparency with a person unwilling to grow and is only fighting is dangerous.
Jaune. It's jaune, like Jean.
Oh, like Jean. Okay, Jean. Hey, Jean. Jean. What is it?
Jaune.
Jean. Transparency is power. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks y'all for hanging out with us. Share it, share it, share it, share it. Bye.
I should say, yeah, that's it.